said, it's a copycat league, the plays and things like that. But with FIBA, you saw how Spain used Santi and things like that. Is that something you said you want to incorporate a couple of those things into the Grizzlies playbook as well?
Yeah, there was definitely some things I really enjoyed watching their games. Obviously, first off, just watching Santi's overall growth. Definitely wanted to, pick, Scariola's brain a little bit, watching the film, and just, we had been talking about last year, just the unique skill set that Santi has, not just, playing perimeter, just spacer, but can he be a guy that can put the ball in his hands, bring the ball full court, trying to encourage him to do more of that. Saw that a little bit, with the national team. And then they put him in kind of what we call our pinch series, putting him at the top of the key, put him on the elbows, being a playmaker. He had some big-time assists in the exhibition games, even in some of the tournament games as well. So just trying to put him in a more of a comfortable position to kind of unlock, I think, a lot of potential in his game. So, I don't think as much as, the plays, but it's just kind of the strategies to put him in that playmaking role.
Are there any specific areas where you're looking for Jaren to take a step forward this season?
I mean, he and I talked about it's pretty much every single area. I mean, he has the unique ability to be an impact player at one of the highest levels on both sides of the floor. Obviously, continuing to do what he's been doing on the defensive side, but even taking more ownership, more leadership on that side. Just reading the game, communicating the game. Obviously, he's gifted. He can accomplish so much with his physical tools. Staying on the floor. He and I talked about that. How you're being smart, putting yourself in the right position, still being active, but being smart. Avoid the foul trouble, and then offensively just enhanced playmaking, but efficient playmaking. So we're obviously going to lean on him early to start the season, but that can't just be the first 25 games. That's all year long. I got to do a better job putting him in primary playmaking roles, let him be a creator for us in attack mode to score. It's on the perimeter, it's in the post, it's as a screener roller, doing more things and adding more to his game. So that's stuff he worked on. Obviously you saw with, Team USA, being more of a, facilitator and a screener roller. Obviously he's playing alongside Steve-O. We got to still be able to create those opportunities more to unlock his ability to be in those situations, but also initiating the offense too is something we've been talking about. So putting him in read-based, situations and trying to elevate his game there because he creates so much gravity where he is on the floor. But there, as I told him today, with great space comes great responsibility. So you got to be able to navigate that, and luckily he's been working on that in his one-on-one workouts too.
His shot attempts and his scoring both went up pretty meaningfully post-All-Star break last year. John missed a lot of those games. Is that something you see carrying over in terms of his place in the offensive pecking order?
Yes, absolutely. I try not to create a pecking order. Obviously, where the ball's going to, find teammates throughout the game. But he's definitely been a focal point of mine throughout the offseason, how we do put the ball in his hands, not just within our flow and motion offense, the gears I've been talking about, but in set plays, putting him in, space situations. Try to do that a lot with, screening roll actions, a couple other things we're going to explore this year. But hopefully, he's just making the right reads. Shot attempts will come in time, scoring will come in time, but am I putting him in a position to be that aggressor to score, but also play make as well?
Does playing with Marcus change Dez's role or sort of expectations of how you use him relative to when he played with Tyus or when he plays with John?
There's definitely going to be probably some changes. I've just been telling him, irregardless of who you're playing with, obviously you've grown into more of a primary playmaker role for us on the offensive side, that you're very gifted there. Keep working on that, but trying to challenge him defensively. Obviously we've got, everyone's saying it, we got the last two defensive player of the years, players on our team. That's great, but he needs to take more responsibility and ownership on the defensive side too. He's excited about that. He wants to take tougher matchups. It engages him more. So just trying to unlock his ability to be a truly an impact two-way player. That's a goal of his this year, so I expect that out of him.
Jaren talked about watching a lot of Dirk film this summer. I'm curious if that's something that you suggested as a Dallas native, or if you guys talked about, and what you think he might be able to take from Dirk's game.
Yeah, no, I think probably the biggest thing you can take from Dirk's game, actually they were talking about yesterday, was just the balance that he played with. Obviously he's completely different physically than Dirk was, but the amount of time that he spent on his lower half, I mean, JJ over the last couple of years has done a phenomenal job just gaining strength. He's been the healthiest that he's ever been, but really understanding balance. That applies to so many parts of his game, even defensively, but how he's balanced in the post. Obviously his offensive style is a little bit different, than Dirk's. Dirk, face up, that three-point shooting, the mid-range game and whatnot. Jaren's got that power, but also can extend the floor as well. It's really the balance on his three-point shooting, balance when he finishes, he takes contact. Those are some of the things I think he was looking at. And then obviously, Dirk was a playmaker too. It wasn't always through the point guards, and just seeing the different spots on the floor where he can be that creator for the offense.
I don't think you're watching Dirk defensive film.
I think he's stuck to himself. He likes watching his own film, and we'll challenge him to keep learning from some of the greats for sure. But we'll keep him working there.
I saw you over there talking to Derek. You were kind of laughing. It looked like you were going over plays. What have you seen from him for the first couple days?
Well, first off, happy birthday, Derek. It's his birthday today, so hope he has a great day with his family, and just making sure he's feeling comfortable with everything we're throwing at him. Obviously, the guy's been in the league, played at the highest level, ultimate competitor, finding his groove with this team. He's finding himself vocally. He's setting a tone with how hard he's attacking all the drills, being a tone setter there. And then, as I told the whole group, we're gonna have missteps, in practice, because we're adding new stuff, we're adding stuff on the fly, and just making sure he's feeling comfortable. So just kind of answering some of his questions that he might have defensively, offensively, and then just really trying to get a read for where he likes to attack on the offensive end. Is probably one of the biggest conversations we had. How does he like to play out of the pick and rolls, spots on the floor, just so I have an idea that I'm setting him up for success and putting teammates in the right spots, because obviously he'll have an important role with us being in that guard position to start the season.
Zaire said that he wants to be like an all-defensive caliber player. Does that come from some conversations you've had with him? I know you talk a lot about defensively what he can do.
Yeah, I mean, he and I have obviously talked, at the end of last season, kind of the expectations. I thought he did an awesome job attacking, the offseason, his training on his body, but also just mentally, just like, as you said, what he's going to lock in on. When we sat down, last week and talked about expectations for the season, I let him talk first before I even shared my thoughts, and he immediately said he wants to be considered all defensive player. He wants to even be considered most improved, but he knows he's got a lot of work to do to prove that. But he's carrying that mentality. He wants to bounce back from last year. He wants to embrace a defensive role, knowing that's an important piece. As I get questions about who's that fifth starter, it doesn't matter where you are, starter coming off the bench, if you can gravitate to that defensive side of the floor, which I know he's got a lot of physical tools, he's got a care factor, but really challenging him to accept that. That's impressive that he's come in with that mentality. I talked to him after practice about how he's doing a great job, in situations, using his length, using his mobility. We'll get into game plan stuff a little bit more, but his attention to detail has been spot on right now defensively.
You mentioned the fifth starter thing. You said on media day you plan to use different starting lineups in the preseason. I don't remember exactly every game last year, but it seemed like last year you came in with Santi in that starting four spot, and he sort of kept it.
Yep.
Is it a different situation this year with your open spot?
Yeah, definitely a different situation. Obviously, credit to Santi last year. I thought what we saw in the first couple of games gave me a lot of confidence, especially what he built over that previous summer leading into the season last year. This year, seen a lot out of the guys from the summer league, early into camp right now. But I want these guys to really feel the open competition. I'm going to change lineups game to game. Hopefully, we're in a good groove, game to game and all that. But really giving these guys an opportunity to understand that these roles are going to change throughout the year. I've got to be better about that. It starts with me, but it's definitely going to be a little bit different than last year.
Anything else? Thanks, Coach.
Awesome. Thanks,